Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God. Power. I give it to him. The glory. I give it to him. Forever. I give it to him. And ever. I give it to him. The power. I give it to him. The glory. I give it to him. Forever. I give it to him. And ever. I give it to him.
Hey everybody, welcome. This is the Bold and the Beautiful. We are here right now. We're getting ready to start our broadcast, and I'm Curtis Austin, and we are now on the When Christians Speak Talk Radio. We air every second Saturday of the month at 10 a.m. Won't you just tune in and welcome to When Christians Talk Radio, Bold and the Beautiful.
If it wasn't for God, I'd be weak. I wouldn't wake up from my sleep. I wouldn't have nothing to eat. I wouldn't be so unique. If it wasn't for God, I would lose it. I wouldn't live under a roof, and I wouldn't be up in this booth, and I wouldn't know He is the truth. And if it wasn't for God, I would have been bold. The enemy would have taken my soul, but now I rise up and I surprise them like the day that He rose. If it wasn't for God, I wouldn't be up in these foreign cars on the way to my shows. If it wasn't for God, I wouldn't have nada. I wouldn't be cold. If it wasn't for God, I wouldn't have clothes, no shoes to cover my toes, no hat to cover my head. If it wasn't for God, I would have been. If it wasn't for God, I wouldn't be counted out. My family down and out. I'm blessed, so without a doubt. Gotta make sure I shout it out. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Bold and Beautiful is a talk show designed to bring the Word of God to youth and young adults around the world and embolden them to live out loud for Jesus. Our vision is to see young people of the world rising up to take their rightful place as leaders and world changers.
I'm a young girl spitting that gospel. Last time I talked to God, He said, I got you. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. And they try to act like they never knew you, but the devil can't do nothing to you. 'Cause the power, I give it to Him. The glory, I give it to Him. Forever, I give it to Him. And ever, I give it to Him. The power, I give it to Him. The glory, I give it to Him. Forever, I give it to Him. And ever, I give it to Him. The power, I give it to Him. The glory, I give it to Him. Forever, I give it to Him. And ever, I give it to Him.
All right, here we are again with another episode of When Christians Speak Talk Radio, Bold and Beautiful podcast. I am here with my lovely host. You can see the row of people around me, as well as a special guest. We have Ernest, who is here with us. He has been here before. He is not a stranger, but this is a catch-up, a renew, a transition. We're trying to figure out what's happening with him now. So we're excited to talk to him today. He does work in finance, and so it is so important for us, especially as Black and Brown people today, to know about money, to not be afraid to have conversations about money, and that no matter where you find yourself economically, you can absolutely be investing and be making your money make money. So we are excited to get into this conversation, not just about money, but about life and about what's going on with Brandon today. So if my co-host would say a quick shout out.
Hey there, good to see you guys again.
Welcome back.
All right, we're gonna
Good to have you.
into it. Curtis, do you want to ask the first question? Y'all had started talking about money, so
Yeah. So before we jumped into the money thing, okay, so Brandon was with us almost like 2 years ago. You were still just leaving out of, you were in college at the time, right?
Yeah, at the time I was in college, I believe. Yeah, I was a sophomore, if I do remember correctly. Or I was just finishing up my sophomore year, I believe it was.
Right. Yeah. So walk us down to just a little bit to you don't have to go into in depth, but just how you got into the field that you're in now.
Okay. Well, I tell people the first time I got into investing in the stock market was, my grandfather had told me about stocks from a very young age, 10, 11, 12 years old, things like that. So when I got into middle school, I think it was 7th grade, we had a home economics class, and one portion was about stocks. And they let us, gave us fake money and let us, buy into stocks and things like that. And I was like, oh, wow. And we had a competition, a class competition. So we got to see and like compete against our friends on what to buy, what not to buy, things like that. And it was just real fun. I think I ended up at the end of the year getting like second or third in the competition. And then when I got to high school, it was the same thing. My senior year in finance, they had a finance course, which was like a basic finance, but they did the same thing with the fake money, things like that. So I always had an interest for it. Had always been, like telling my granddad to buy certain companies, like even before I was of legal age to invest. I was like, in his ear, like, hey, buy this, like, buy that. And a lot of those things, over time, they do quite well, So that's how I got into it. And just seeing how you can make money is just, always been big to me.
What was the biggest, like, for instance, like, all right, you see something on the horizon, it might be big. It might not be as big in the public right now, but then what was the first stock that you might say, like, yeah, go get that because I know that's going to do something?
The first one where like I recognized it and I knew from the jump, like when I got into it, that it was going to be big, was Netflix.
Wow.
So I was in high school. I was like a sophomore. Like I said, I'm like 15, 16. So I didn't even have my own brokerage account yet. But like I'm whispering to my grandfather who was, into investing. I'm like, hey, I'm seeing these blockbusters close down. I'm seeing this Netflix thing starting to take off. Need to get into it, And at the time, Netflix was about like $80 a share. So it had already come up a lot. Like for the people that were getting Netflix sent to their house via the little, mail, when it was only like a couple dollars a share, that's when it was, really big. But yeah, it was about $80 a share. So he bought like 100 shares of it. And Netflix today is like over $500 a share. So
wow, that
was the first time where there's been bigger wins or whatever, but where I just knew, like, you can see the cultural shift in America, and just people in general.
Yeah.
And you just follow the money,
See, I'm learning here. That's why, so my next question is, like, how do I recognize a trend? I mean, is it basically that I look at, particular, how basically trends are in the cultural aspect of our neighborhoods and people, what they're going towards, what they're leaning towards, or is it something that, like, is it how it might be some type of not presidential, but something that go on as far as dealing with the news or stuff like that, or how do I recognize the trends to know how to shift my money or put it in the right place to be able to make the most profit?
Well, the biggest thing that, I tell people is there's a whole bunch of different trends, right? Like there's people that make a ton of money that just trade based off weather patterns, so the biggest thing is just focus on you and what you do. When you start making a change and you start putting your money in different places, the odds are that somebody else is too. So, I tell people all the time, like, when did you get your first iPhone? Or for the people that have iPhones, like I remember iPhones had a chokehold on the youth because of FaceTime and iMessages. And that was back when I was in like 8th, 9th grade. So around like the time the iPhone 4 came out. And if you look at the stock price of Apple then versus now, if you were to put the exact same money that you paid for the iPhone into actually buying the company that made the product that you wanted so bad, you'd be in a good position. Same thing right now. Like what's hot? Netflix is losing shares to, sharing the marketplace share to things like HBO Max.
Mm-hmm.
That's hot right now. Like now movies aren't even coming to movie theaters. It's going straight to HBO Max. Mm-hmm. You know who owns HBO Max? Who owns HBO?
Who?
AT&T.
Wow. I got some of that.
AT&T is a great stock. I think everybody should have AT&T. They pay like 6.8% dividend per year. So regardless of what the stock does, you're going to get 6.8% on your money.
Now, hold on that point, because I don't want to, my co-host probably has a question too, but hold on that point, because I don't want people to miss this, right? Mm-hmm. So explain to them about, for instance, certain stocks, because there's certain companies that you invest in, their companies don't give dividends, they just reinvest their money. So explain to them, explain to our viewers, the difference between companies that reinvest their money and companies that you earn dividends off, so they understand how to really invest to make a profit on their money or increase on their dollar.
Okay, so you have companies like, let's say Tesla, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was a hot one the last couple of years. Um, they're what we would consider kind of like a growth stock because they don't pay a dividend, but they're constantly reinvesting their money. So you see a larger fluctuation in the stock price itself because that's where you'd make your money from. Versus something like AT&T or Delta Airlines, which are dividend stocks, or Coca-Cola, and a whole bunch of examples. So you don't see as much of a fluctuation in stock and share price, but they're paying you a portion of their profit. So you don't even have to necessarily, like when I invest in dividend stocks, I rarely care about what the share price is doing. If it dips enough, I'll buy more because you're basically buying income. Because like you said, you're getting 6% every year on your money, and AT&T, Delta's I think like 4 point something, Coke is 4 something, and like I said, like that stuff adds up over time. So for somebody that's young, say like under 30, 10 years, 6.8%, that's 68% return. And then if you've reinvested those dividends, it's a compounding thing. So
before I ask any more questions, any of my co-hosts, y'all gonna say anything? I don't want to keep saying it.
Novena, you got something?
I'm just listening. I like learning all of this because I know I was taking a class in this, and it's so interesting just to understand the difference between purchasing stock versus trading stock. That's because I was thinking about getting into trading stock, but it's like I still need to learn some more before I put my money out there because I definitely want my money to make money for me. So could you share a little bit about the difference between purchasing stock and trading stock?
Yeah. Trading, that's like the glorious thing, right? Like everybody likes to look at like you made how much, how little, but trading is interesting, man. Like it's like some days I feel like a gladiator, like going out to battle, because that's really what it is. Like,
did you see the difference in him when he started talking about trading?
And trading, that's the exciting stuff,
Yes.
like it's the investing done correctly is very boring, very, you're just letting your money go to work for you over time. The most valuable thing is time. But with trading, yeah, it can. So like, for example, you have intermediate trading, which can just be like a couple months. You plan on buying something and then selling, like a month or two later. You got day trading, which is, okay, I'm gonna buy something at the bell, sell it before the closing bell. Then you got scalping, which means I'm gonna buy something for a minute and try to sell it. I'm gonna break out technical stuff like that. Oh yeah. No, the scalping is, the scalping will have you pulling your hair out or shouting for joy, depending on which way it goes. But yeah, it's definitely interesting. What do you want to know about trading? Well, that's what I do full time for a living. So
that's what I think I want to talk to you about on a different level,
And so you do this as a business. So like, if someone were coming to you, what kind of service, like what kind of service do you provide? Like, can someone come to you and say, I have $100 or $500. What can you do with it? Or like, what is your business set up to do for people? I guess at different price brackets or
right,
depending upon where people are financially.
So the biggest thing for me right now is just about educating people. Because like I said, I'm not a financial advisor. I don't have like a Series 7 or anything. So my thing is just with my business aspect is just building a community of traders to help teach people what to do with their money. Like give them the information and let them make an informed, educated decision on what to do. So for example, like I have like a little group chat that I have with some friends and people that are interested in it, just to like, it was like a little beta, like test group type thing. And really it's just about, I tell them, hey, I'm doing this, I'm doing X, Y, and depending on your risk tolerance or, what you want to achieve, you can either follow suit or just, bounce plays off me, tell me what I think, things like that. And the biggest thing is really like, I thought I was going to do it for more so like day trading. But what I'm finding is I have to remember is people have like regular jobs, like 9 to 5s. So it's really been more so what I've been more successful with is more like intermediate trading, like, okay, put this play in, come check on the next month, and you just see how that trade goes for you. And I'll let you know if you need to go in early and sell it or what I would do, and let you make that decision for yourself, really. So that's going to be the biggest thing. So it's going to be like, I'm going to have a group chat, a Discord. Y'all familiar with Discord?
I've heard the word, but I have no idea.
I've been a part of Discord. This.
So much you can do with Discord, so fancy, and I just been playing around with different features and stuff. So it's going to be that, and people can pay to basically just
calling me dumb, but is it an app or something?
Yeah, they have an app, but it's like a website too. But you mostly use it on the app and like Telegram. You heard of Telegram?
Okay, yeah, all right.
It's like that.
It's like
it's like Telegram, yeah.
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 Yeah, that was a big usage when the flowers were around. But listen, so with that being said, right, now that you're doing trading and things of that nature, if a person come to you and say, well, because what you talked about was like, for instance, if the stock itself gained like 6.8% a year on your money, right, which is good, the dividends, as opposed to you having it in a bank account at that point. But still explain to our listeners and our viewers about the compound interest, also with the rule of 72.
Yeah. So the biggest thing with like just compounding interest, and one of the things that I try to use to help explain it to people, because they have a nice graph on it, is you guys ever heard of like the Acorns app?
Yeah.
So they have this nice interactive graph, and it just shows like, if you invest your spare change, how over time, how much it would be hypothetically if it just got a 6% return, which the things they're invested in, over the last 40 years have gotten closer to like a 10% return. So, when people can actually visualize it and see like, okay, if I contribute $50 a week for the next 20 years, plus rounding up my spare change, I'll have X amount of dollars. It helps them, get into that investor mindset of, what, I want to put my money to work for me. So like you said, you're talking about the rule of 72, which is just the rule of how long it would take your investment to double. So if you earn 10% on something and 10%, it would take 10 years for that thing to double if the didn't move at all, if you were just earning the interest on it. Because 10 times 10, 100%, so it would double up. So yeah, just like I said, and the thing that I like about Acorns also is they have partners with different groups that when you shop with them, they'll actually invest money into you. So like, for example, Nike, I go on Acorns and I go to Nike and I buy something, they'll invest 5% of my order into my Acorns account.
Oh, see
now that 5%.
Come on now, give it to us.
Yeah, okay.
I got the app, but I don't know how to use it.
I'm telling you, go in there and it's called found money. Like they'll literally just find money for you, because again, if it helps that person, that company get a sale, it's worth them to invest 5%. It's no different than getting 5% off, right? But instead of getting 5% off, you get 5% added to your Acorns account, and then that money works for you. So eventually, 10, 15 years, that 5% just paid for your order. But people don't like to see the long-term effect of things like that. But for me, like I'm 24, so if I can order clothes in my 20s from Nike, and then in my 40s it's paid for because of the little percentage they kicked it back, it was just worth it to me. Even Expedia has a partnership with them. When I travel, go on Expedia, get my flight, get 4% back.
Oh,
not a bad gig.
It's all about perspective, and risk tolerance is another word I heard you say, and that is so critical, because scared money, I understand, doesn't get you too much, but then how much are you willing to risk? Because there is some risk in just putting your money out there. You have to know how much you can tolerate.
Yeah, that's a huge part. All of it, when it comes to making money day trading, it all has to do with risk management. So like before I take a trade, I know, okay, if this is the target price, this is where I'm going to cut it at, my stop loss. Then I know that if it hits the target price 1 out of 5 times, it gives me this odds versus if it goes, like the trade has to be profitable before it's profitable.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that way,
yeah.
if you have the right risk reward ratio in all your trades, you can only make 40% of your trades be profitable. But if the risk reward is there, then you're still profitable.
Well,
So
let
it's
me
not
ask you
about.
this. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Now finish your statement.
I'm just saying, like, it's not even about making money on every trade. It's just about sticking to the program and having that proper risk reward ratio.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. So, how do you gauge, your take profit and your stop loss? How do you gauge that window to hold it in when it comes to different trades?
Technical analysis.
All right. So basically, you do market analysis, and your market analysis is based off the information you see from what people are driving, what people are buying. Things.
If it's a news play, it would be
Okay.
that, right?
Uh-huh.
But with the technical side of it, strictly based off the chart.
Okay.
Because and then when you're reading the chart, the biggest thing is just understanding that the chart is telling you what other people are seeing, and you have to react based on what they're seeing.
Okay.
Because we're the small fish in this, right? The couple hundred or a couple $1,000s we're throwing in isn't going to move the market. But when you understand that, okay, 90% or so of the big money is actually computers, what are the AI looking at that are going to make the trades? And you just kind of follow, you take the crumbs and you keep it moving, So that's
you look at stuff like head and shoulders.
Head and shoulder, your basic
like,
bull flags, pendant square, all that stuff, from patterns to candlestick patterns, all that stuff plays a factor.
Definitely. So let me ask you this, because a lot of people, man, I've been seeing people also been moving the basically T-bots, right? When it comes basically, so they read the web 24 hours, right?
Mm-hmm.
They read the market 24 hours, and they're using the algorithms to predict what's coming.
Okay, so that's a Forex thing, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. 24 hours. Yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah. So how do you? Because basically, I guess if it can be used on the Forex market, it could probably be used in a regular market too as well.
Yeah, the stock market. There's things like that, like I have alerts that come to my phone, where just news alerts, like constantly, because news plays a major factor, in everything. Like you could have a trade, you could look at the chart be excellent, and then some news come out and it just ruins the entire trade, So, there's things like that for sure, where they analyze different things and, they tell you what they think is going to happen.
Yeah, I found that most people though, that's really traders, they rather go off themselves than the algorithm of a bot telling you that this is going to happen because the algorithms are moving this way.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because at the end of the day, live by the sword, die by the sword. If you want, that's not what you want. You don't want to take a sizable position on something based on AI, and then it goes south, and then you're just sitting there upset at a computer. Like, no, I'd rather take it in myself.
That's it. So, Brandon, how does one get their toes wet? How does one start getting into the market? Because it's one thing to not have money and want to, can do stuff. But either way, whether you have money or not, what's the best way to even get started?
Man, nowadays with technology, not having money is almost not an excuse.
Right.
Because you can buy fractional shares. There's a company I like, brokerage, is called M1. You start with as little, I think, like $5 or something like that, and you can buy into Apple or Tesla, all these fancy companies you want with $5, and it'll literally break it up fractionally to where you get a piece. So not having money, is
no excuse.
Very, not as an excuse as it used to be, right? Like where you need these huge minimums to get a brokerage account, or where it used to be like, even when I first started, it used to be $8 to execute a trade per trade. So when I was day trading, you start off in the hole $8, and when you don't have much, it's like $8. Whoo,
I was only
then
gonna put in
Robinhood
20.
came along. But yeah, feet wet. I tell people the best thing to do. Everybody wants to jump in and start like day trading, or they want to jump in with options and stuff like that. And we can talk about that some too. But really just focus on buying companies that you use. I tell people, most people have their retirement and things like that, but set aside some money to play with companies that are around your house that you put money into. Like if you drive a Ford, buy some Ford. They pay a nice dividend. You pay a phone bill, buy your phone provider, things like that. Because if you believe in them enough to give them your hard-earned money,
come on,
then you should have enough faith to buy a part of the company. And that's what you're doing when you're buying stock. So that's the biggest thing. And then you get to watch it. You see how it moves. You see how news affects it. And if you decide you wanted to take it another step and get more active, you can do that as well, But the biggest thing is just definitely starting with, companies that you use.
Like.
Yeah, that you like is the biggest thing. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. So what about options? Tell us about options too.
Options, that was a life changer for me when I discovered this little thing called options back in I discovered it back in 2018, 2017, but they're so complicated that I didn't want to mess with it, right? Because I didn't understand what made it move exactly. There's Greeks along with it. There's a lot to it. Like the actual calculations is actually calculus. So if you actually try to break it down and see how things actually move, it's straight up calculus. Okay. So I didn't touch them for a couple years, but then, scared money don't make money. So 2019, 2020, I started diving in with them. And an option is basically a contract that gives you the right to buy or sell the underlying asset, which would be the stock that you're, buying or selling. So say Apple, you buy one option contract and that gives you the right to buy Apple at the strike price, which is in the contract, of 100 shares. So each contract is 100 shares worth of said contract. And of said asset, which would be the stock. So in the contract, what you have is you have the strike price, which is how much you could buy or sell it for. You have the expiration date, which is what makes things tricky because you have a thing called time decay. As it gets closer to the expiration, the price of the contract moves more as it's closer to the expiration. So I went time, you have the expiration date, your strike price, and then you have your Greeks, which are your delta, your theta, your things like that, which explain how the price moves relative to the stock price. So you want to, I use those in day trading weeklies. So they expire every Friday. So you can buy a contract for, say, Apple. You could buy one for next year. You could buy one for this Friday. You could buy one for next Friday, the Friday after. And then the cost of it, the further out of the money they are, the cheaper they are. But the more likely they're going to expire worthless because it's further out of the money.
Right.
So they're actually designed for you to technically lose, right? Because you're fighting time decay. You don't know what's going to happen. But if you play it correctly, you can make a lot of money. I've made 1,000% overnight. I've woken up to.
Man, I'm starting
that's when
calling
that
you
GameStop.
Billy Ray. I'm gonna call you Billy Ray. You know Billy Ray, right? He was on Trading Places. Eddie Murphy. Yeah. Billy Ray Valentine, man. Yeah, right. You had the top options. You got the. You knew what was going on. You in Winthorpe, man. Yes, sir. Y'all know about the Trading Places, man.
I remember.
I know that movie.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
Billy Ray Valentine, my man. Ernest, man. Billy Ray Valentine. You look. How you living, Billy Ray? Excellent.
Classic.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, it's a beautiful thing when it's done right. I tell people when you're starting off with options, try to, get some cheaper, longer expiration options. Like I said, that month to 2 months out can be a nice sweet spot. Can easily get, 100% on a trade relatively like clockwork, if you're trading breakouts and things like that. But yeah, it can be lucrative. I've had my wins and my losses for sure, but you definitely just want that risk management, like I only risk 2-3% of my portfolio a trade, which is quite a lot technically. Like you have some people that say only risk 1% or a fraction of a percent, especially with options, because things can go left very quickly. But yeah, if you got the time and the energy to learn about it, it's definitely lucrative for sure.
Well, I think I will be calling you, sir. Yes, I think I
Right.
will. You know what I'm saying? I need to win 5 times before I lose one, but I think I need to call you. And, but definitely, man. I'm just really impressed, man. Your wealth of knowledge, man, and how you have really, like I could just say I could see that you really breathe this thing, man. You breathe this thing. That's a powerful thing, man.
It
Especially,
is.
man, for
Amen.
people of color too, because like we don't always understand like the inner workings of the market and things of that nature. We don't go in that direct a lot. Well, I'm not saying a lot of people. Most people that are in our inner cities and stuff don't take time to really think about that. Like you said, they might go buy a pair of Louis and not buy the stock. You know what I'm saying? You spend all that money on
Which
the
actually
Louis,
isn't a bad stock, actually.
and see that out of my man Billy Ray Valentine's mouth. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Shoot, he go like Ernest putting it down for you. Ernest putting it down. So he's 24 years old. So I'm seeing a 24-year-old right now, who actually, and he probably never disclosed it, but I'm just looking at a 24-year-old now that, and probably in about the time he's my age, which is 25, that he gonna be. But he might be a millionaire, and he probably gonna be a millionaire real quick.
Real quick.
Who
So
knows?
yeah, so I'm just saying that education, because that's the one factor that he did put out there first. When Novena asked him about stocks and things of that nature, how you get involved, he said my biggest thing is education. Education, educating the masses about the steps to take to become financially free. And I think we can all become that financially free, because the truth of the matter is, man, listen, it's out there. You got options.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, but yeah, I think the biggest thing, like with options, like Sister Novena bought up GameStop, right? And I remember when that whole GameStop fiasco happened, I'm sitting there watching it. And obviously I'm in the markets every day. So I saw it early, like 20 something dollars a pop. And I'm sitting there watching it. And I'm like, I can't justify this, right? Like I can't justify it. So I can't put my money behind it. So I sat there and watched it go to $400 a share. And I'm like, dang, I don't got no money in this. But one thing I do know is what goes up must come down.
That's right.
So when it broke like $3.50 a share, I bought a put, which is basically the right to sell something at a certain price, so you make money as it goes down. And that's what a lot of people don't understand is, like, in the market, whether it's up or down, when you're an option trader, all you need is volatility. I can make money either way. I just need it to be volatile. I just need it to move. So yeah, it broke like $3.50, and I bought $100 put on it, and I ended up selling it when it dropped all the way to $40, and that was like a 300 and something percent move. So
but you got to know that. That's the thing. That's when I start getting a little scared. I just stopped everything, because I was like, this is not making sense to me. So I said, I'm just going to jump in at another time.
Yeah, my favorite play though, and out that whole fiasco, was AMC.
Oh yeah, the movie theaters.
AMC was a great move because it was down to like $2 and something. And when it was, the same thing was happening. It was being pumped by the Reddit users and the short squeeze and things of that nature. And they were basically, the short sellers were basically trying to short it to death, meaning like they were going to short it until AMC had to file bankruptcy and go out of business, which is what they did to Blockbuster. Blockbuster was a huge, corporation. They had money. They could have turned into something else. But when when the short sellers saw that, oh, this is dying off, they shorted them into oblivion.
Isn't that something?
Basically what happened. So, but the reason I liked AMC though is because when that stock started going up, it could hold those valuations previously. You know, yes, it's COVID right now, nobody's going to the movies.
Yeah.
But they still have storefronts, they still have real estate, you know, they still have all those businesses out there. So that to me means it's worth more than $2 a share. So when it got to like $4, I bought a couple thousand shares, and then I sold it like 16. Like, it was a great move. It was a lot of money. It was great.
But you gotta constantly watch it and know what you're watching for. Then the vocabulary. Did you hear all these different words, Jordana?
I know none of them. He is speaking a whole other language.
Yeah,
I'm
he
like,
did.
okay, I'm gonna just sit here and smile because I don't know.
He just said, "Hey, look," he said, "I brought a put. Put what?
Putting calls. I was learning about the puts and the calls.
But that's what's up, because I'm learning stuff too. Like, as we talking, like, it's been very educational. But one of the things that because I know that you'll believe in. One of the things I wanted to ask you too is that in light of your position and how you are in the market and what you do, do you see God like moving you in, or giving you like kind of like the Spirit sometimes giving you a push, like, look over there, look at this. You know what I'm saying?
This is the path I'm putting you on.
Abraham, the ram is over there. You
To me, it's more so like a not look over here thing, but more so like the inner peace thing.
Yeah.
Because with trading, it's about 80% psychology, psyche, and about 20% of what you know. Because the thing is, and it's just being able to have that, what I like to call that, that ice in your veins, that I'm not going to panic. I'm not going to freak out. I know what I saw. I'm going to let it do what, and to me, that's where like God comes into place. Like, just trusting yourself, like knowing that God gave me this talent. God gave me my intelligence, and to trust in me and trust in God, So that's where, for me, the Lord really comes in, where it's just like, if it's not meant to be this trade, it's not meant to be. But, you look at it like any other business. If I take a loss, if I was running a restaurant, I'd have to buy food or I'd have other expenses. So when I take a loss, it's like, okay, don't let me get beat down on this. It's just a business expense, and just get it back together and re-rally. That's all you can do.
So if people want to connect with you or to get advice, how would they contact you?
You guys can follow me on my Instagram. I have a business Instagram and I have a personal Instagram. So follow me on either.
Did you say you don't know either? What did you say?
No, I said you can follow me on either.
Oh.
What's your Instagram?
My Instagram, my personal one is __ tuna with 3 A's.
It's a tuna with 3 A's.
Yeah, football nickname. They used to call me Big Tuna back in the day. It stuck, and it's been that forever. And so that's just TUNAAA. And then the business Instagram is Young, my last name, YOUNG _ investments _
Is that the name of your business?
Yep, Young Investments. Just trying to spread the word about really just investing, like the trading is nice. But I tell people all the time, like, when I trade, I pretty much pay myself a pretty modest salary. And then the rest of my profits are just right back to investing, so that's the biggest thing. Like, I was fortunate in January, I made enough money to pay my yearly salary. So everything from then on is just, going right into the investment account.
Well, that is a extreme blessing.
It is.
So let me say this, right, to all my youth that, of course, that our show is trying to encourage the youth to live and love out loud for Jesus, right? So this is a young man, 24 years old, that made a decision about what route he should take, which was in financial literacy, understanding, and trading. And this man just now said that in 1 month, He made a year's salary, paid himself a year's salary. So everything else that he makes after that is just pure investment profit. So what I'm saying is that, this is a whole nother hustle. You don't have to be in the streets. You don't have to be selling drugs. You don't have to think that they got to get the quick come up, because it ain't a quick come up in the legal system. He just told you it's a legal come up in the legal system as long as you educate yourself and make the choice to do it the right way. And he has done it. He is living proof that it's possible to do that. Man, my man Ernest right here. Ernest
Legal
Young.
lit.
Love it.
Legal lit.
Big tuna.
Wait,
Big tuna,
what
y'all.
is that saying about the sense about it making money? What is that saying that your grandfather told you?
Oh no, every cent got to work.
Every cent got to work.
Every cent. I don't care if it's like, for instance, we talked about the Acorns thing, right? Where they have partners. Postmates is one of their partners. I be ordering food. I like to eat. They pay me 25 cents for every order I make. So to give you an example, like I have my Acorn 7 aggressive, and it's invested in some international things, but the biggest thing it's invested in is the VU, which is, overall market type thing, right? Where it's just the whole umbrella of the market. And like the S&P 500, you guys heard of S&P 500, I'm sure. That's a pretty common term. In 1980, around when it was almost funded, I think it's up. This is just off the top of my head, so don't quote me of it, but I think it's up like 9,000%. So that's what, 30, well, that's 40 years ago now. So I'm looking at it like this. If the market continues to do what history has shown it to do, $1 in 40 years might be $10,000. So every dollar, every cent has to work. And one thing my grandfather used to tell me, walking around in the streets, you see a penny, another penny closer to $1 million, so that's just.
It's all about perspective too. And that's the way you've been grown. You've been groomed. You have a good understanding about money. A lot of people, they have scared money or have a poverty mindset.
Yeah.
So it's
I was definitely lucky, like blessed. Definitely blessed for sure, because my understanding of money started from a very young age, and I've taken that and built upon it and done my own thing with it, but definitely those fundamental roots were instilled from very young.
And it's paying off now, because even with that example you gave about the $1, you said even if history is any indication, that $1 can be $10,000.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Before I'm 60 years old, and it's just a perspective, a mindset that this quarter is going to really add up into something. That's another quarter closer to $1 million.
Yeah.
So
go ahead.
One other question. Okay, so if someone came to Young Investments, what is it that you can offer them?
So right now, first and foremost, it's just going to be. I'm trying to build a wealth building community, right? Where other like-minded people can come together, bounce trading ideas off each other, but not just trading. I'm trying to build it to be just about building wealth altogether. Like I'm gonna have my homegirl in there. She has a credit repair business, like the whole spectrum. I'm trying to cover everything, just so people can understand how money works, network with other people. A lot of young people too that's out here in different fields getting it, whether it's from government contracting to trucking to all different things, where it's just going to be like a network hub. And the biggest thing is when it comes to like the trading, it's going to be a lot of educational videos and things like that, to where if you do it right, and like I trade under my LLC, right? So when I buy courses or things like that, which is another thing I'm going to work on after I develop the community obviously for the community, it's a tax write-off because it's education towards, my business. So that's really the most biggest beneficial thing to it, because if I help you make money and then the little money that you'd be paying me, say something like $50 a month, is written off on your taxes against your winnings, it's a win-win situation. And that's really what I'm all about. I'm just about win-wins, and
I love it.
Yeah, trying to help people elevate. That's the biggest thing.
And this is something I can see even going into the school systems, and we need to educate the young people. I mean, even younger than you. You said 11 years old, you were understanding about the ebbs and flows of the market. You understood what a market was. It wasn't just going to the store, the market.
Yeah, and people say all the time, they talk about the school system and the school system's broken and this and that. The truth of the matter is it's working exactly the way it's designed to do. So you can't depend on the school system, because at the end of the day, they're accomplishing their goal. Their goal is to produce more workers. If you really understood how money worked, now given being an entrepreneur isn't for everybody, day trading isn't for everybody, but their goal is to produce workers, like they push, go to college, go to school, get a good job, things like that. That's all fine and dandy. But, they don't really want you to understand how things work, because they want you to be in debt. They want you to.
Come on, now. Just like the hospital.
But no, seriously though, like the system is designed to really kind of keep you in debt,
they need a certain class of people who are worker bees who
it's needed. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's why I don't say it's broken.
I started as a worker bee, and that got me going. But then it's like, I don't want to be the worker bee.
Yeah. And even if you can be a worker bee, but still invest in a system that can make you passive income, right? Mm-hmm. It's not necessarily a bad thing to get a job or to get a career, but we're saying that you should also be financially literate. You should also know if there is a system and that you can participate in that system at whatever income level you are.
Exactly.
It is for you at whatever income level you find yourself. Yes. Whether you are working at McDonald's, or you're a manager at a restaurant, or you're a government worker, or you're working, you're a contractor, or you're in construction. In any field that you're in, you can participate in this market.
Absolutely.
In this financial market. You can
participate. I love how Ernest explained it, as far as whether it's a $5 investment that's divided up in many ways, whether it's a contract that you pay $100 a whop and it's still divided, or you go out and purchase shares of stock. So it's a lot out there. Then the risk tolerance, everybody's level of risk tolerance is not the same. I could be earning $100,000 a year and I don't want to lose a dime, and somebody may be and then somebody may be earning $50,000 and like, let it roll, Yeah. But it's room out there for everybody.
Yeah. And this has inspired me, because I definitely want to, and it's not even that I'm scared as much as it is I might be like slightly lazy and I just want somebody else to do it. Like, if someone tells me and I could say, this is the level I'm comfortable at, I am okay with getting the basic knowledge and say, okay, I'm gonna do this. But I'm not gonna be your day trader. I'm not going to be looking at my computer like, what is the market doing? I'm not going to be getting alerts to my phone. And so I think that's also something that we should be spreading, that you don't have to get a PhD in the market, again, to participate in it. Because if you're like me and numbers scare you and math used to make you cry, that's okay. You too can participate in this system.
But you got to have I have to have a level of trust, because I just have to have somebody I can trust with.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
And you hear about these different schemes and scandals and stuff. It's like, I need to educate myself. Just like Brandon is saying, I need to educate myself.
Yeah,
definitely. For those just like Ernest was saying, when it comes to financial advisors too, it's a particular site that you can go on that actually shows you the track record of the financial advisor. You can see if they have any blips in their whole record, the companies they work for, and their whole history. And that's one of the things that my financial advisor does. He educates you like that, and then he also shows you his record, but he also shows you where to go if you choose to not use him where to go in case you want to go with somebody else, to be able to check their track record, because you want to safeguard, because he feels as though that his job, that God has blessed him with, his purpose is to also help educate the people, and also to ensure that we become financially free. So definitely, man, this is like been an awesome show. I'm gonna call this man, so I want you to know that, if you don't know who he is on Instagram, _ tuna 3 A's, you feel me? That's when you can leave, or you can find him a young Ernest, right?
Yeah, young _ investment.
Young _ investment, right?
We'll put that in the link in the show.
It's another underscore.
Either in the bottom or up top. You'll see the link. We'll put the information when we post it.
And his phone number, his business phone number too.
Yeah, they can look. I'm an open book. People can call me. My phone number 240-300-6839. You can this stuff is fun to me, right? Like I'll talk. Yeah, like I'll talk investments, or I'll talk trading with you. You can see on my page, I'll just post little funny memes and little inspirational quotes until we get the website and stuff up and running. But that should be out within hopefully beginning of next month. We want to start the summer off strong. But yeah, it's just we can talk some figures too.
All right. I'm looking.
Get on the Ernest train, the money train.
Well, this has been an awesome show. Again, Ernest, thank you for being with us. This has been a pleasure. I feel smarter already.
Me too.
Does anybody have any final thoughts before we sign off?
Man, I just been blessed. That's all. I just been blessed.
Me too.
Yeah. So again, thank you guys for listening in, tuning in with us, and Ernest. Another When Christians Speak Talk Radio, Bold and Beautiful. Again, we will put Ernest's contact information so that you can connect with him. And let's get on this train together, because we can all do it. So it's been real. Bye.
See y'all later. All right. Take care.
Bye, everybody.
All right, now.
Thanks for tuning in to our broadcast. We look forward to introducing young talent and sharing exciting stories with our listeners around the world. So if you have a gift, talent, story, or information to share with us, spoken word, poetry, book, or song to share, if you're an entrepreneur or musician, please contact us at bnbwcstr2016@gmail.com or on any of our social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram.